The eviction notice arrives on a Wednesday, not by mail, not slipped under the door. Hand-delivered by the landlord himself, Mr. Chen, who has the decency to at least look uncomfortable as he hands Iris the official document stamped with the housing court's seal. He won't meet her eyes as he speaks, his accented English heavy with reluctance. "I'm sorry, Miss Delancey. 3 months now. No rent. I have bills too. Mortgage, property taxes. I cannot carry you any more." Iris stands in her doorway in her scrubs, still smelling like antiseptic and exhaustion from a double shift at the hospital, and stares at the paper in her hands. The words blur together. Legal jargon. 30-day notice. Failure to pay. She wants to tell Mr. Chen that she did pay, that she transferred the money every single month, right on time, never late, not once in the 3 years she's lived here. But she can't tell him that because it's a lie. She didn't pay him. She paid Blaine. Blaine, who told her 6 months ago that the building was switching to a new payment system, that everything had to go through him now since his name was on the lease too, that it was easier this way, more efficient. Just trust him, baby, he'd handle everything. She trusted him. Of course she trusted him. That's what you do when you love someone. When they hold you at 3 a.m. after your mother dies and promise they'll never leave you. When they say they'll take care of everything so you can focus on healing. When they look you in the eyes and swear they love you. Except Blaine didn't love her. Blaine loved her apartment, her paycheck, her desperation to not be alone after her mother's funeral. He saw a target, not a person. A mark, not a partner. And now he's gone and she's standing here holding an eviction notice while Mr. Chen shifts uncomfortably in the hallway. "I paid," Iris says quietly. Her voice sounds distant, like it belongs to someone else. "I paid every month. I have the bank statements." "Not to me, you didn't." Mr. Chen's face softens slightly. "I know you had a boyfriend. I know he left. But his name was never on the lease, Miss Delancey. Only yours. The responsibility is yours. But I transferred the money. To him, not to me." Mr. Chen sighs. He's in his 60s, tired, probably dealing with a dozen other tenants with a dozen other problems. "I'm sorry, I really am. You're a good tenant, quiet, clean. But I cannot afford to lose 3 months of income. You understand, yes?" She understands. She understands that Blaine Hartwell took her money and disappeared. That he played her perfectly. That she was so desperate for companionship after her mother's death that she ignored every red flag, every warning sign, every instinct that told her something was wrong. She understands that she's an idiot. 30 days, Mr. Chen says, and he actually sounds apologetic. "If you pay the back rent, all 3 months plus late fees, I can stop the eviction. Otherwise, you must be out by March 15th. March 15th, 29 days from now. 29 days to come up with $4,500 plus fees, which means probably close to $5,000 total." She makes $38,000 a year as a surgical nurse. After taxes, student loans, and basic living expenses, she has maybe $200 in savings. She used to have more. A lot more. But that was before Blaine. Before Blaine convinced her to add him to her credit cards for emergencies. Before he borrowed her car and returned it with an empty tank and a damaged bumper. Before he invested her savings in a guaranteed return crypto scheme that turned out to be a scam. Before he systematically drained every resource she had while telling her he was looking for work. Just give him time. Things would get better. "I understand," Iris says. "Thank you for telling me in person." Mr. Chen nods and retreats down the hallway, probably relieved the confrontation is over. Iris closes her door and leans against it, still holding the eviction notice, and feels something crack inside her chest. Not her heart. That broke 2 weeks ago when she came home early from a shift and found Blaine in her bed with another woman. Not just any woman. Sloane Morrison. The girl who made Iris's high school years a living hell. The girl who tripped her in the cafeteria and laughed when her lunch tray clattered across the floor. The girl who started a rumour that Iris gave herself a black eye for attention. The girl who wrote charity case on her locker in permanent marker and recruited half the junior class to point and laugh every time Iris walked past. And Blaine knew. She'd told him everything about high school, about how hard those years were, about Sloane specifically. He knew, and he still brought her to their bed anyway. When Iris walked in on them, neither one had the decency to look ashamed. Blaine just rolled his eyes like she was interrupting something important and said, "Can you come?" "Back in an hour? We're not done," Sloane had laughed, that same sharp, cruel laugh from sophomore year. "Oh my God, Blaine, you said she was pathetic, but I didn't know she was this pathetic. Look at her just standing there. Does she always look like a kicked dog?" Iris had left, walked out of her own apartment in her scrubs, and didn't come back until nearly midnight. When she finally did, they were gone. So was her laptop, her grandmother's sapphire ring, the $400 she kept hidden in a shoebox for emergencies, and the spare key to her car, which she found out 3 days later was because Blaine sold her car to a chop shop for parts. She reported it stolen. The police took a report but told her the chances of recovery were slim to none. Her insurance barely covered half the remaining loan. She still owes $8,000 on a car that no longer exists. So no, it's not her heart breaking now. Her heart is already in pieces. This is something else. This is the moment. When she realizes she has nothing left to lose. When rock bottom reveals itself to be just another floor with a trapdoor underneath. Iris slides down the door until she's sitting on the floor of her tiny studio apartment. The place is barely furnished now. Blaine took most of the good stuff when he left. The couch, the TV, the microwave, even the coffee maker her mother gave her last Christmas before the cancer got too aggressive to treat. He left her with a mattress on the floor, a folding chair, and a growing sense that maybe she doesn't deserve better than this. Her phone is on the kitchen counter. Dead battery. It's been dead for 2 days because the charger broke and she can't afford to replace it until her next paycheck. But her mother's old phone is still mounted on the wall. The ancient landline that Grace Delancey insisted on keeping active, even though nobody calls landlines anymore. Even though it was just wasting money. What if there's an emergency? Her mother used to say. What if your cell dies? What if you need help and you can't reach anyone? Always have a backup, baby girl. Always. Iris pushes herself up from the floor and walks to the landline. She picks up the receiver and stares at it. Who would she even call? She doesn't have friends anymore. Blaine made sure of that, slowly isolating her from everyone over the past year. Her co-workers are acquaintances at best. She hasn't spoken to anyone from high school in a decade. Her mother is dead. Her father has been out of the picture since she was 6. She has no one. The realization hits her like a physical blow. 26 years old and completely, utterly alone. She starts to cry. Not the pretty kind of crying from movies, the ugly kind. The kind that makes your face red and your nose run and your whole body shake. She's sobbing into her mother's phone, and she knows it's pathetic, knows Sloane was right about her being a kicked dog, knows she should be stronger than this. But she's so tired. Tired of working 60-hour weeks and still drowning in debt. Tired of being the person everyone uses and no one protects. Tired of trying so hard to be good and kind and worthy and ending up with nothing except an eviction notice and a broken heart. Her mother used to say, "The world takes care of kind people eventually, baby. Just keep being good. Keep helping others. It comes back around." But Grace Delancey died alone in a hospice bed at 54 from cancer that could have been caught early if she'd been able to afford regular checkups. She worked 2 jobs her entire life and died with $17 in her checking account. The world didn't take care of her. Why would it take care of Iris? Through her tears, Iris finds herself dialing a number. Not consciously, her fingers just move on their own, muscle memory from 1,000 calls over the years. Her mother's cell phone number, the one Grace had for 15 years. The one Iris called every Sunday for their weekly check-in. The one that's been disconnected for 18 months, but she still has memorized. She doesn't expect it to ring. The number was deactivated after her mother died. Iris knows this because she kept calling it for weeks after the funeral, just to hear the automated message, "The number you have reached is not in service. Please check the number and try again." But tonight, it rings. Once, twice, 3 times. Someone picks up. Yes? A man's voice, deep, controlled. Not a greeting, not hello or who is this? Just one word, an acknowledgement, a command. Like he knew someone would call and he's been waiting. Iris freezes. Her breath catches. This is wrong. This number shouldn't work. No one should be answering. "I'm sorry," she stammers through her tears. "I didn't mean to call you. This number used to be my mother's. I must have... I'm sorry, I'll hang up." Silence on the other end. Not empty silence, the kind filled with attention. She can hear him breathing, steady, deliberate, listening. "Don't hang up," he says. His voice is quiet but absolute, not a request. "What's your name?" I shouldn't have called. I'm sorry." "Your name." Firmer now. Something in his tone bypasses her rational brain and goes straight to some primal instinct that says, "Answer this man." "Iris Delancey." A pause. "You're crying, Iris Delancey." "I'm fine, I was trying to call my mother, but she's dead and I forgot, and I'm sorry for bothering you and..." "Stop apologizing." His voice cuts through her rambling. "Breathe. Then tell me why you're crying." "I don't even know you." "That's exactly why you should tell me. Strangers are easier than people who know you. They don't have expectations. They can't judge you. They just listen." Iris doesn't know why his words break something open inside her. Maybe it's because he's right. Maybe it's because she's desperate. Maybe it's because she has nothing left to lose. And this stranger's voice is the first kind thing she's encountered in months. She tells him everything. It pours out of her in a flood. About Blaine. About how they met at a hospital fundraiser 2 years ago. How charming he was. How attentive. How he said she had the kindest eyes he'd ever seen. How he took her to dinner 3 times before he even tried to kiss her. How perfect it seemed. How he moved in after her mother's funeral because he said she shouldn't be alone. How grateful she was. How he made her feel safe when everything else was falling apart. How he handled the bills and the paperwork and all the logistical nightmares of dealing with her mother's estate so she could just grieve. How slowly, subtly things changed. How money started disappearing. How he always had an explanation that made sense at the time. How he borrowed her car and returned it damaged. How he convinced her to add him to her credit cards. How he said he was looking for work, but there was always an excuse why this job didn't work out or that interview went badly. How she found him in bed with Sloane Morrison 2 weeks ago. How they laughed at her. How Blaine left that night and took everything of value. How she realized he'd been stealing from her all along. How the rent she thought she was paying never made it to the landlord. How she's being evicted in 29 days and has nowhere to go. She tells this stranger about high school, about Sloane specifically, about the 3 years of constant humiliation, about coming home crying so many times her mother finally pulled her out and enrolled her in online classes for her senior year, about how seeing Sloane in her bed felt like the universe was playing a cosmic joke, like even 10 years later she can't escape being the target. She talks for 15 minutes straight, maybe 20. He doesn't interrupt. Doesn't ask questions, just listens with that same steady, focused attention that makes her feel like maybe, for once, someone actually gives a damn about what she has to say. When she finally runs out of words, when her throat is raw and her tears have slowed to hiccups, there's a long silence. Then, "What's his full name?" "Blaine what?" Iris blinks. "Why?" "His full name, Iris. Hartwell. Blaine Hartwell. But why do you..." "And Sloane's last name." "Morrison. Sloane Morrison." "I don't understand why you want to know. Where did Blaine go to high school?" The question catches her off guard. "What? High school? Where did he go? I don't know. He never really talked about it. Why does that matter? Another pause. Longer this time. When the man speaks again, his voice has changed. Gone is the calm, neutral tone. Now there's something underneath, something cold and sharp and dangerous. Did he ever mention East Brooklyn High School? Iris's heart skips. No, I don't think so. Did he go there? Yes, and so did Sloane Morrison. The man's voice gets quieter, which somehow makes it more intense. And so did my sister. Her name was Sophie Russo. She went to East Brooklyn High from 2008 to 2010. And during those 2 years, she was systematically tortured by a group of students who thought bullying was entertainment. Iris's blood runs cold. What? Blaine Hartwell was the ringleader. He pushed Sophie down a flight of stairs, spread rumours that she was sleeping with teachers, stole her clothes from the gym locker and threw them in the dumpster, cornered her in the bathroom and told her she was worthless, that no one would miss her if she disappeared, that she should do everyone a favour and kill herself. Oh, God. Sloane Morrison was part of it too. She laughed. She joined in. She made sure the entire school knew Sophie was the designated target, that it was social suicide to defend her. Iris can't breathe. On March 8, 2010, Sophie Russo took a bottle of her mother's sleeping pills and didn't wake up. She was 16 years old. She left a note that said, "I tried to be strong. I tried to ignore them, but the words never stop. They follow me everywhere. In my head, in my sleep, in every moment. I just want the words to stop. This is the only way." Tears are streaming down Iris's face again. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." "My name is Adrian Cage," the man says. "Sophie was my little sister. I was 18 when she died, senior at the same school, and I watched it happen. I watched them destroy her piece by piece, and I didn't do enough to stop it. I reported it to the administration. They said boys will be boys. I went to the police. They said it was a school matter. I begged Sophie to transfer schools. She said running away wouldn't help because people like Blaine exist everywhere." His voice cracks slightly. Just slightly, like he's holding back years of rage and grief. "She died in my arms. I found her in her bedroom. She was already unconscious but still breathing. I called 911. I did CPR. I screamed at her to hold on. And she died anyway. In the ambulance, before we even got to the hospital. And the last thing she said to me, the very last words she ever spoke were, 'Don't let them win, Adrian. Please don't let them win.'" Iris is sobbing again. For Sophie, for herself, for every person who's ever been broken by someone else's cruelty. "I left New York after she died," Adrian continues. "Spent 10 years hunting every person who hurt her. Blaine transferred schools right after Sophie's death. Changed his last name from Hartwell to Harrison for a while, then back to Hartwell when he thought enough time had passed. Sloane went to college in California. They all scattered. They all thought they got away with it." "But you found them," Iris whispers. "I found them. I've been watching Blaine Hartwell for 3 years, waiting for the right moment. And then tonight, you called this number. My sister's old number, the one I kept active because I couldn't let go of her, and you told me that Blaine Hartwell hurt you, that Sloane Morrison hurt you, that they're still doing exactly what they did to Sophie, still finding vulnerable people and destroying them for fun. If you're already hooked by this story, wait until you see what happens next." Iris's mind is reeling. This can't be real. This has to be some kind of cosmic coincidence. Except she doesn't believe in coincidences. Not anymore. Not when the universe has spent the last year systematically destroying every good thing in her life. "Why are you telling me this?" she asks. "Because you deserve to know who hurt you, what he's capable of, the pattern he follows." Adrian's voice is steady again, controlled. "And because I'm going to offer you something." "What?" "Revenge." The word hangs in the air between them. Heavy, tempting, dangerous. I'm going to destroy Blaine Hartwell, Adrian says, and Sloane Morrison. I'm going to take everything from them, their money, their reputations, their futures. I'm going to make them understand what Sophie felt, what you feel, what every person they've ever hurt feels. And you're going to watch it happen. I can't. This is insane. You called my sister's number for a reason, Iris. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was fate. Maybe Sophie herself guided your fingers. I don't know and I don't care. What I know is that you're in pain. You're alone. You're being destroyed by the same person who destroyed her. And I have the power to stop it, to end him, to give you back your life. How? I run an organization. I have resources, money, people, influence. I can make Blaine Hartwell disappear from your life like he never existed. I can get your money back, stop your eviction, fix your credit, erase the damage he's done, and I can make sure he never hurts anyone again. It sounds too good to be true. It sounds like a trap. It sounds exactly like what someone would say if they wanted to manipulate a desperate, broken woman into doing something terrible. But Adrian's voice doesn't sound manipulative. It sounds tired, sad, like a man who's been carrying a weight for 10 years and finally found someone who might understand why. What do you want from me? Iris asks carefully. Permission. To do what needs to be done. To use your situation as the final piece of evidence I need to take him down. And in 48 hours, your life will be different, better, free. And if I say no, then I hang up. I never contact you again. I'll still destroy Blaine eventually, but it won't be because of you. It'll just be because he deserves it. And you'll have to find your own way out of this situation. Iris closes her eyes. She thinks about Sophie Russo, about a 16-year-old girl who was bullied into suicide, about how Blaine looked at her when she walked in on him and Sloane, about how he called her pathetic, about how he stole everything and left her with nothing. She thinks about the eviction notice sitting on her counter, about the empty apartment, about the fact that she has 29 days to come up with $5,000 and absolutely no way to do it. She thinks about her mother's last words. The world takes care of kind people eventually, baby. But Grace was wrong. The world doesn't take care of kind people. The world eats them alive. The world rewards people like Blaine and Sloane. People who take and hurt and destroy without consequence, unless someone makes them face consequences. Okay, Iris whispers. Okay? Yes, do it. Destroy him. Make him pay for what he did to Sophie, to me, to everyone. She can hear Adrian exhale slowly. You're sure? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Good. Then here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow morning, Blaine Hartwell is going to wake up and realize his entire life is falling apart. His bank accounts will be frozen. His credit cards will be cancelled. Every person he owes money to will receive his current address. Every woman he's ever scammed will receive documentation of his fraud. His employer will receive evidence of embezzlement. The police will receive tips about illegal activity. You can do all that. I've been preparing for this moment for 10 years. Everything is ready. I just needed the trigger. You're the trigger. Iris's heart is pounding. What about Sloane? She's next. After Blaine. I'm going to make her understand what it's like when the person you trust betrays you. When your reputation is destroyed, when everyone you know turns against you. She's going to feel exactly what Sophie felt, what you felt. How long will this take? 48 hours. By Saturday morning, both of them will have lost everything that matters. And you'll be free. I want to see it happen, Iris hears herself say. I want to watch. Silence. Then, are you sure? It won't be pretty. I don't care. I need to see it. I need to know it's real. All right. Tomorrow night, 11 p.m. I'll text you an address. Come alone. Tell no one. He pauses. Iris, once you walk through that door, there's no going back. You'll see things that will change how you view the world. You'll become part of something that exists in the shadows. Are you ready for that? She thinks about it for exactly 3 seconds. Yes. Then I'll see you tomorrow night. And Iris? Yes? Thank you for calling Sophie's number, for giving me the chance to finally keep my promise to her, for being brave enough to let me help you. I'm not brave. I'm desperate. Sometimes those are the same thing. The line goes dead. Iris stands in her kitchen holding her mother's old phone and realizes her hands have stopped shaking. The tears have dried on her face. The crushing weight in her chest has lifted just slightly. For the first time in months, she doesn't feel helpless. She feels like she's about to watch the universe balance itself. And somewhere maybe, Sophie Russo is watching too. The next morning, Iris goes to work. She works a 12-hour shift in the surgical unit at Mount Sinai. She assists in 3 operations, takes vital signs for 42 patients, and successfully avoids thinking about last night's phone call by staying in constant motion. If she stops moving, she'll start questioning. If she starts questioning, she'll talk herself out of meeting Adrian tonight. And she can't do that. Not now. Not when she's finally going to see Blaine face consequences. At 2 p.m. during her lunch break, her phone buzzes. She's managed to charge it using a cord she borrowed from a coworker. 37 text messages and 19 missed calls, all from unknown numbers. She opens the first text thread. Unknown. Is this Iris Delancey? This is Jennifer Cho. We met at the hospital fundraiser in 2019. I just wanted to reach out because I heard about what happened with Blaine. I'm so sorry. He did the same thing to me 3 years ago. Took $12,000 and disappeared. I had no idea he moved on to someone else. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here. Iris stares at the message. Jennifer Cho. She vaguely remembers her. A pharmaceutical rep, maybe? They talked for 10 minutes at a networking event, but they never exchanged numbers. How did Jennifer get hers? She opens the next text. Unknown. Iris, this is Marcus from the claims department. I shouldn't be telling you this, but someone submitted a fraud report on Blaine Hartwell this morning. Multiple violations, identity theft, embezzlement. The case has been escalated to law enforcement. I thought you should know since you were listed as one of the victims. Call me if you need help navigating this. Then, another. Unknown. Hi, Iris. My name is Catherine Walsh. I'm an attorney specializing in fraud cases. I received your name from a mutual acquaintance who thought you might need legal representation. I'd like to offer my services pro bono. Please call me at your earliest convenience. Then another, and another, and another. All of them mentioning Blaine. All of them offering help, information, support. Like someone lit a signal fire that said, Iris Delancey needs help, and people are responding from every direction. Adrian's work. It has to be. At 3 p.m. her phone rings. Actual call. She doesn't recognize the number but answers anyway. Hello? Iris? A woman's voice, shaking, scared. It's Sloane. Iris's entire body goes rigid. How did you get this number? From Blaine. Listen, something's happening. Something really bad. Blaine called me this morning, freaking out. His bank accounts are frozen. His car was repossessed. His credit cards are all cancelled. Someone sent his boss evidence of fraud and he got fired. And now people keep calling him about some girl named Sophie who died years ago. He's panicking and I don't know what to do. And he said you might know something because this all started right after you found us together and... Stop. Iris's voice is ice. Why are you calling me? Because Blaine thinks you did this. He thinks you hired someone to destroy his life and I need you to call them off. Please, Iris. I know we have history. I know I wasn't kind to you in high school, but this is serious. Blaine is talking about leaving the country. He's scared. Really scared. Good, Iris thinks. He should be scared. Out loud, she says, I didn't do anything to Blaine. Then who did? This can't be a coincidence. Someone is targeting him, and it started right after you walked in on us. You have to know something. I know that Blaine stole from me. I know you helped him humiliate me. I know you both deserve whatever's happening to you. Iris takes a breath. And I know about Sophie Russo. Dead silence. What? Sloane's voice is barely a whisper. Sophie Russo. East Brooklyn High School, 2010. Ring any bells? I didn't. That was so long ago. She killed herself because of what you and Blaine did to her. She was 16 years old. And you laughed. You participated. You made her life unbearable. We were kids. We didn't know she would. She told you she wanted to die multiple times. You knew exactly what you were doing. Iris, please. Don't call me again, Sloane. Whatever's happening to you and Blaine, you earned it. Iris hangs up. Her hands are shaking, but not from fear. From adrenaline. From satisfaction. From the first taste of justice in months. Her phone buzzes immediately. Text from an unknown number. Adrian. Well handled. She's going to call Blaine now and they're going to spiral. Good. Let them panic. Tonight, 11 p.m. I'll send the address at 10:45. Wear dark clothes. Tell no one. Iris texts back. I'll be there. Adrian. One more thing. Check your bank account. She opens her banking app. Her checking account, which had a balance of $47 this morning, now shows $12,847. Her savings account, which has been empty for 6 months, shows $25,000. She texts back, What did you do, Adrian? Returned what was yours. Blaine stole approximately $13,000 from you over the past year. I retrieved it. With interest. The additional money is compensation for emotional damages. Consider it an advance on your future. Iris stares at her phone. $25,000. More money than she's ever had in her life. More than enough to pay the back rent, cover her living expenses for months, maybe even go back to school like she's always wanted. But she didn't earn this. She didn't do anything. Adrian just gave it to her. She texts, I can't accept this. Adrian, yes you can and you will, because you deserve to stop struggling. You deserve to breathe. You deserve to not choose between rent and food. Take the money, Iris. Use it to build the life Blaine tried to steal from you. She stares at the message for a long time. Then she texts back. Thank you, Adrian. Don't thank me yet. Thank me tomorrow when this is all over. At 10:45 p.m., Iris receives an address. 428, Warehouse Row, Red Hook. She takes the subway, gets off 2 stops early, and walks the rest of the way because she's nervous, and if she sits still, she'll overthink this and talk herself out of going. Red Hook at night is industrial and isolated. Empty lots, abandoned buildings, the occasional warehouse with security lights casting harsh shadows. It's the kind of place where bad things happen and no one hears you scream. Iris should be terrified. Should turn around and run back to Manhattan. Should go home and pretend last night's phone call never happened. But she keeps walking. 428. Warehouse Row is a 3-story brick building with no windows on the ground floor. There's a single steel door with a keypad beside it. As Iris approaches, the door unlocks with a heavy click. She pushes it open. Inside is a small lobby, concrete floors, industrial lighting, a freight elevator at the far end. And standing next to the elevator, a man. He's tall, at least 6'3", broad-shouldered, maybe 34, 35 years old. Dark hair perfectly styled, strong jaw, high cheekbones, eyes so dark they're almost black. He's wearing expensive clothes, tailored black pants are black, button-down shirt, black coat that looks like it costs more than her monthly salary. Everything about him screams power and control and danger. This is Adrian Cage. He looks at her, really looks at her. Not the way men usually look at women, assessing, judging, objectifying. This is different. This is someone cataloguing every detail, every micro-expression, every tell, like he's reading her entire history in the span of 3 seconds. Iris, he says. His voice is exactly the same as on the phone, deep, controlled, certain. Adrian, you came. I said I would. People say a lot of things. Very few of them follow through. He steps forward, extending his hand. Thank you for trusting me. She shakes his hand. His grip is firm but not crushing. His skin is warm. There's a scar across his knuckles that looks old, well healed. Up close, she can see the exhaustion around his eyes, the lines that come from years of not sleeping enough, the weight of carrying something heavy for a very long time. He looks like someone who's been at war with the world and is finally close to winning. Come with me, he says, releasing her hand and turning toward the elevator. Blaine is on the 3rd floor. Iris's heart jumps. He's here? Now? Has been for the last 6 hours. I had people pick him up this afternoon very carefully, very quietly. No witnesses. Did you hurt him? Adrian looks back at her. Not yet. But I wanted you to be here when I do. You deserve to see it. And he deserves to know that his victims aren't as weak as he thought. They ride the elevator up in silence. Iris's heart is hammering. Her palms are sweating. She's about to see Blaine for the first time since she walked in on him and Sloane, since he laughed at her, since he took everything and left. The elevator doors open. The 3rd floor has been converted into a large open space, exposed brick walls, industrial lighting, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water. In the center of the space, a table, and tied to a chair at that table, Blaine Hartwell. He looks terrible, his clothes are rumpled, his face is pale and drawn, his eyes are red like he's been crying. When he sees Iris step out of the elevator behind Adrian, his entire expression changes. Iris! Oh, thank God, tell him this is a mistake. Tell him I didn't do whatever he thinks I did. Tell him to let me go. Iris just stares at him. The man she thought she loved. The man who said she had the kindest eyes he'd ever seen. The man who promised to take care of her after her mother died. The man who used her and destroyed her and laughed about it. Hello, Blaine, she says quietly. You have to help me. This guy is insane. He's been asking me about some girl from high school who died like 100 years ago. I don't even remember her. This is all a misunderstanding and you need to tell him. Sophie Russo, Adrian says calmly, walking past Iris toward Blaine. Her name was Sophie Russo, and she died 12 years ago, not 100. You remember her. You're just pretending you don't because that's what cowards do. They hurt people and then they pretend they forgot. I don't know who that is. Adrian moves so fast Iris barely sees it. One moment he's standing still, the next his hand is around Blaine's throat, not choking him, just holding, a warning. Don't lie to me, Adrian says quietly. You're not good at it, and it insults both of our intelligence. He releases Blaine, who gasps for air. Sophie Russo was my sister. She went to East Brooklyn High School with you and Sloane Morrison. For 2 years, you made her life unbearable. You pushed her, hit her, stole her things, spread rumors, told her to kill herself, and eventually she did. That wasn't my fault. You're right. It wasn't just your fault. It was Sloane's fault, the teacher's fault, the administration's fault, everyone who saw what was happening and did nothing. But you were the catalyst. You were the one who decided. A quiet, kind girl was an acceptable target. You set the tone. Everyone else just followed your lead. Blaine is shaking now. We were kids. We didn't understand what we were doing. Bullshit. You were 17. Old enough to drive. Old enough to know right from wrong. Old enough to understand that actions have consequences. You understood perfectly. You just didn't care. Adrian walks back to stand next to Iris. He doesn't touch her, but she can feel him beside her. Solid. Certain. Protective. Iris, Adrian says without looking away from Blaine. Tell him what he did to you. She doesn't want to. Doesn't want to relive it. Doesn't want to give Blaine the satisfaction of knowing how much he hurt her. But then she looks at Blaine, really looks at him, and realizes he's already broken, already scared, already understanding that his life as he knew it is over. And suddenly she wants him to hear it, wants him to know exactly what he did. You told me you loved me, Iris starts. Her. Voice is steady, stronger than she expected. You moved into my apartment after my mother died and you said you'd take care of me. You said I was safe with you. You said you'd handle the bills and the paperwork so I could grieve. Blaine won't look at her. But you were lying. You were stealing from me from day one, taking money out of my accounts, opening credit cards in my name, borrowing my car and returning it damaged. Every single thing you did was calculated to drain me of every resource I had. And when I had nothing left, when you'd taken everything, you brought the girl who bullied me in high school to my bed and fucked her just to make sure I understood exactly how worthless I am. Iris, I'm sorry. Don't apologize to her, Adrian says coldly. You're not sorry, you're scared. There's a difference. He pulls out his phone, opens it, shows the screen to Blaine. This is your life as of 6 p.m. today. Your bank accounts are frozen pending a fraud investigation. Your credit. Cards are cancelled. Your car has been repossessed. Your landlord has filed for eviction. Your employer fired you for embezzlement and has reported you to law enforcement. 7 women have come forward to file complaints about your pattern of financial abuse. The IRS is auditing your taxes for the last 5 years. And every person you owe money to, and there are quite a few, now knows exactly where to find you. Blaine's face has gone sheet white. Tomorrow morning, Adrian continues, the police are going to receive an anonymous tip with evidence of identity theft, fraud, and extortion. They're going to arrest you. You're going to be charged. And based on the evidence I've compiled, all of it entirely accurate, by the way, you're going to spend the next 7 to 10 years in prison. You can't do this. I already have. It's done. Over. Your life as you knew it ended the moment Iris walked in on you and Sloane Morrison and decided she'd had enough. I didn't. This isn't fair. Adrian leans down until he's eye level with Blaine. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Sophie was 16 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. She was kind and gentle and she wanted to be a veterinarian because she loved animals more than people. And you destroyed her. You personally, with your own hands and words, destroyed a child. And you never faced a single consequence. So don't talk to me about fair. Blaine is crying now, actual tears streaming down his face. Please, I'll do anything. I'll pay Iris back. I'll turn myself in. Just don't do this. Adrian straightens, looks at Iris. What do you think? Should I show mercy? Iris looks at Blaine, at the man who destroyed her, at the man who destroyed Sophie Russo, at the man who would go on to destroy countless more women if someone didn't stop him. She thinks about Sophie's last words to Adrian. Don't let them win. She thinks about her mother saying, the world takes care of kind people. And she realizes her mother was wrong. The world doesn't take care of kind people. Kind people take care of each other. Kind people stand up for each other. Kind people sometimes have to do hard things to protect other people from monsters. No, Iris says. No mercy. Adrian nods. Good answer. He walks back to Blaine, pulls out a folder, opens it. This is a list of everyone you've hurt over the last 10 years. 15 women, $27,000 in total damages, 3 destroyed careers, 1 suicide attempt, and Sophie Russo. He sets the folder on the table in front of Blaine. I've contacted every single one of them, offered them compensation, offered them therapy, offered them justice. Most of them want to see you in court. The rest just want to know you can never hurt anyone again. What do you want from me? Blaine asks. His voice is broken. I want you to understand what Sophie felt. I want you to spend the next decade in a cage knowing that the women you thought were weak ended up being the reason you lost everything. I want you to realize that kindness isn't weakness. That vulnerability isn't an invitation to abuse, that some people remember, some people fight back, and some people have brothers who never stop hunting. Adrian closes the folder, looks at Iris. We're done here. He's already finished. The police will find him in 2 hours. Everything else is just watching the dominoes fall. Iris nods. She takes one last look at Blaine, sobbing broken, finally understanding that his actions have consequences, and feels nothing. Not satisfaction, not revenge, just a quiet, settled sense that the universe is slightly more balanced than it was 24 hours ago. "What about Sloane?" she asks Adrian as they walk back to the elevator. "Tomorrow night? Same process. She's going to lose her job, her reputation, her friends. Everyone she's ever hurt is going to see her fall. And she's going to know it happened because people like Sophie and people like you finally stopped being silent." They ride the elevator down in silence. Outside, the night air is cold and crisp. Iris breathes it in and feels different, lighter, like she's been carrying a weight for months and someone just lifted it off her shoulders. "Thank you," she says. Adrian looks at her. Really looks at her. And for the first time since she met him, he smiles. It's small, sad, but genuine. "Don't thank me. Thanks, Sophie. She's the one who kept that phone number active. She's the one who made sure I'd be there when someone like you needed help." "Do you really think she sent me to you?" "I don't know. I stopped believing in cosmic justice a long time ago. But I believe in this. Some coincidences are too perfect to be random. You called my sister's number at the exact moment I needed a reason to finish what I started. Maybe that's fate. Maybe it's luck. Maybe it's Sophie. I don't care which. I'm just grateful it happened." They stand there on the sidewalk outside the warehouse, two broken people who've found each other through tragedy, and Iris realizes she's not alone anymore. She has Adrian, and somehow that changes everything. The next 24 hours pass in a blur. Blaine is arrested at 8 a.m. The news reports call it a multi-year fraud investigation. His photo is plastered across local news sites. Iris's co-workers whisper about it during shifts. No one knows she was one of his victims. No one knows she was there when it all came crashing down. At 7 p.m. she receives a text from Adrian. "Adrian, Sloane Morrison's life falls apart in 3 hours. Do you want to watch?" Iris thinks about it. Really thinks about it. Part of her wants to see Sloane face consequences the way she watched Blaine face his. Wants to see the woman who made her high school years unbearable finally understand what it feels like. But another part of her is tired. Tired of revenge. Tired of watching people suffer even if they deserve it. Tired of being defined by the people who hurt her. She texts back, "No, I trust you to handle it. Just tell me when it's done." Adrian, "Are you sure?" Iris, "Yes. I don't need to see it. I just need to know she can't hurt anyone else." Adrian, "Understood. I'll handle it." Iris, "Thank you for everything. For Sophie. For me. For being there when I needed someone." 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. Adrian, "Have dinner with me tomorrow night. Not about revenge. Not about Blaine or Sloane or any of this. Just 2 people who survived hell and made it to the other side." Iris's heart does something strange. A flutter. A skip. She barely knows this man. He's dangerous. He's ruthless. He destroyed 2 people's lives without hesitation. But he also saved her, protected her, made her feel like she mattered when everyone else made her feel worthless. She types, "Okay. Where?" Adrian, "I'll pick you up at 7. Wear something nice. We're celebrating." Iris, "Celebrating what?" Adrian, "The fact that you're still here. That you called my sister's number. That Sophie's memory just saved another life. That's worth celebrating." At 11:34 p.m, Iris receives another text. "Adrian, it's done. Sloane Morrison lost her job today for falsifying her resume. Her husband filed for divorce after receiving evidence of multiple affairs. Her friends received detailed accounts of her history of bullying and abuse. She's facing criminal charges for fraud, and every person she hurt in high school received personal apologies written by her own hand. She didn't want to write them. I convinced her." Iris texts back, "How?" Adrian, "Let's just say she's very motivated to cooperate when she understands the alternative." Iris, And the alternative is? Adrian. Prison. Public humiliation. Complete social annihilation. She chose the apologies. Smart choice. Iris. Is she going to be okay? Adrian. Eventually. After she's learned what it feels like to be powerless. After she's spent some time reflecting on the consequences of her actions. After she's proven she can be a better person, maybe then she'll be okay. But that's her responsibility now, not ours. Iris. Okay. Thank you, Adrian. Stop thanking me. Iris. I can't help it. Adrian. Try. You don't owe me anything, Iris. This was always about Sophie. You just happened to be in the right place at the right time, Iris. Or the wrong place, depending on how you look at it. Adrian. No, the right place. Definitely the right place. See you tomorrow at 7. The next evening, Adrian picks her up in a black car. Not the one from the warehouse. A different one, sleeker, more expensive. The kind of car that costs more than most people make in a year. He's wearing a suit. Dark grey, perfectly tailored. He looks like he belongs in a magazine spread. All sharp lines and controlled power and barely contained danger. But when he sees Iris, wearing the one nice dress she owns, the black one her mother bought her for college graduation, his expression softens. You look beautiful, he says. You don't have to say that. I'm not saying it because I have to. I'm saying it because it's true. They drive to a restaurant in Manhattan. The kind of place Iris has only seen in movies. The kind where the menu doesn't have prices and the waiters speak in hushed, reverent tones. The kind where people like her don't belong. But Adrian acts like they belong there. Acts like Iris belongs there. He pulls out her chair, orders wine without looking at the menu, talks to the staff like he knows them personally. Over dinner they talk. Really talk. Not about revenge or Blaine or Sloane or Sophie, about life, about who they were before tragedy shaped them, about what they want from the future. Iris learns that Adrian runs a security consulting firm that's really a front for something much darker and more complex, that he helps people who fall through the cracks of the legal system. People like her. People who need protection from people like Blaine. Do you always destroy people's lives? She asks over dessert. Only when they deserve it, Adrian says. I don't target innocent people. I target predators, abusers, people who use their power to hurt others, people like the ones who hurt Sophie. How many people have you helped? In the last 10 years, 47. Men and women who were being destroyed by people in power, people who had no legal recourse, people who needed someone to even the playing field. And you just decided to become that person? Sophie made me promise, and I keep my promises. They finish dinner. Adrian pays without letting Iris see the bill. They walk through the city together, and Iris realizes she feels safe. Really safe. For the first time in a year. Can I ask you something? Iris says as they're standing outside her building. Anything. Why did you keep Sophie's phone number active for 15 years? That's a long time to hold on to something. Adrian is quiet for a moment. Because I couldn't let go. Because that number was the last connection I had to her. Because I hoped that somehow, someday, it would matter. And then you called it. And I realized she was still protecting people, even after death. That number was her way of making sure I'd be there when someone needed help. Iris's eyes fill with tears. She'd be proud of you. I hope so. Adrian reaches out, gently wipes a tear from her cheek. And I think she'd be proud of you too. For surviving Blaine. For being strong enough to let me help you. For not letting him destroy you. I'm not strong. Yes, you are. You're just learning how to see it. They stand there on the sidewalk and Iris realizes something has shifted. This isn't just about revenge anymore. This isn't just about Blaine or Sophie or justice. This is about two people who found each other in the dark and decided to be each other's light. I should go inside, Iris says, even though she doesn't want to. You should, Adrian agrees, but he doesn't move. Neither does she. Adrian, she says quietly, thank you for everything, for saving me, for making me feel like I matter, for showing me that kind people don't always finish last. They do finish last sometimes, Adrian says honestly, but not always, and not when they have someone in their corner who refuses to let them fall. Is that what you are? Someone in my corner? If you'll let me be? Iris looks at him. At this dangerous, complicated man who destroyed her enemies and gave her back her life. At this person who's carried his sister's memory for 15 years and turned grief into protection for others. She reaches up and kisses him. It's soft, brief, a question and an answer wrapped together. When she pulls back, Adrian is looking at her like she's the only thing in the world that matters. Yes, she whispers, you can be in my corner, and I'll be in yours. He kisses her again. Longer this time, deeper, like he's been waiting 15 years for permission to let someone in. And maybe he has been. Maybe they both have been. When they finally break apart, Adrian rests his forehead against hers. I'm going to protect you, he says quietly, for as long as you'll let me. No one else gets to hurt you. Not ever again. I believe you, Iris says. And she does. Because Adrian Cage keeps his promises. All of them. If this story touched your heart, let me know in the comments below. 6 months later, Iris stands in a new apartment. Not her old studio. A real apartment. 2 bedrooms, natural light, a kitchen that isn't falling apart, furniture that she picked out herself. She paid for it with the money Adrian returned to her, got a new job at a better hospital, started therapy to work through everything, started believing that maybe, just maybe, she deserves good things. Adrian is there too, not living with her. They're taking things slow, but there most evenings, cooking dinner together, watching movies, talking about their days. Being normal for a few hours before he goes back to his work and she goes back to hers. They don't talk about Blaine anymore. He's in prison, 7-year sentence. Sloane is rebuilding her life quietly, carefully under Adrian's watchful eye. She sends Iris a letter every month. Apologies, updates, proof that she's trying to be better. Iris doesn't respond to them, doesn't need to. Sloane's redemption isn't Iris's responsibility, but sometimes, late at night, Iris thinks about Sophie Russo, about a girl she never met but who saved her life anyway, about how a wrong number turned into a lifeline, about how tragedy can somehow transform into protection. She thinks about calling Adrian's current number, the one he gave her that first night, and telling him all of this, but she doesn't need to. He already knows. Because 6 months ago, on their 3rd date, Adrian took Iris to a cemetery in Brooklyn, to a headstone that read, Sophie Maria Russo, 1993-2010, kind, gentle, loved, the raven remembers. And Adrian had knelt down and said, Sophie, I want you to meet someone. Her name is Iris. She called your number, and I think you sent her to me. Thank you for that. Thank you for making sure I was there when she needed help. Thank you for still protecting people even though you're not here anymore. Then he'd stood up and looked at Iris with eyes full of grief and gratitude and something that might have been hope. She would have liked you, he'd said, and Iris had believed him. Now, 6 months later, Iris's phone rings. Unknown number. She answers without hesitation. Hello? Is this Iris Delancey? A woman's voice, young, scared. My name is Emma. Someone gave me your number. They said you might understand. My boyfriend took everything from me, my money, my apartment, my life. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to call. Please, can you help me? Iris closes her eyes, thinks about wrong numbers and second chances and the way kindness ripples outward. Yes, she says, I can help you. Tell me everything. And as Emma starts talking, Iris realizes, this is how it works. This is how Sophie's memory lives on. This is how kind people survive in a world full of monsters. They find each other. They protect each other. They refuse to let the monsters win. And somewhere, Maybe Sophie Russo is smiling, because the raven remembers, and the raven protects, always.